And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I am Rebbetzin Bat-Chen Grossman from ConnectedForReal.com. And this is Mascha, and she is my buddy in one of the courses that we're doing together. And it's just been so much fun to work with her back and forth. Both of us are working on our businesses, and Mascha decided to turn the tables on me. And usually I'm the one interviewing, but today she wants to ask me questions and have you guys join in on the fun. Use the comments below to really just bring up whatever questions you would like to ask me. And let's do it.
Yay, I'm so excited, Bat-Chen.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because I'm not used to being in the Nicole. Okay, Nicole is here. I have a cheerleader. We can start.
Yeah, you're doing awesome, and you're so brave for doing this, Bat-Chen, because, well, it's a lot, and we're going live, so I want to give you props for that.
I do. Mascha wanted to go and record it and whatever. I'm like, no. If we don't do it live, it's not going to come out the same. So I love doing things live because I love having you here and I love all of the energy. So let's start. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's start. So I just wanted to start at the beginning because you're a marriage coach. And now you have something that's called the Intimacy Masterclass. And, well, of course I did it. And I'm so excited because I loved it. And so I want to tell you more, to ask you more about how did it come about and how did it get started for you? Because to talk about intimacy, I think it's very important for women. And sometimes we just flunk it and think, oh, not for me, not today, but today's the day that we are going to talk about it.
Yeah, so I started out just with marriage. Marriage became my thing, and I pretty much had to go through my own stuff. Yes, this is going to be available for viewing later, and in the same place. Same links, same everything. You will be able to see this anytime you want. That was a question that came up. Fine. So I started with marriage, first of all, because I had to go through so much in my marriage. Thank God we just celebrated 15 years. We got married on Hanukkah, and it comes out January 1st. So it's coming up very soon. And it's been 15 years. So in those 15 years, we had to go through a lot of our own growth and figuring out, and what are we doing with this thing? And
Children.
Yes. Thank God we have 6 children. And we had to figure all of this out. And with time, I was realizing that I was trying all the things that were the wrong things. And when I finally stumbled on the right things, I was completely shocked. Why aren't people talking about this more? Why aren't people giving the right advice? Why is the most common advice that you get the stuff that makes you almost fall and feel like there's no hope? And so I almost got this mission from God. I don't know how it came about, but it started after I had my latest baby, who is now 2.5 years old. And I just had to start helping everyone. And it started with giving any advice. And it became really clear to me that all of life's stuckness, anything you're stuck, it's always everything is stuck. It's not just one thing. It's a million other things. Everything feels it's and it's usually, your career and your money and the kids and parenting. You have no energy, and everything is connected. And then I found that the answer is always in marriage. If you could fix the marriage, everything else will trickle down and will solve itself. And so I'm the type of person who really likes to find the root of the problem. And when I found the root that was marriage, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I have to focus on this, because if I can focus on the thing that will move the needle the most, then I can really help people. Because I can like help you a little bit here and a little bit there and like adjust. But if I can really click that thing into place and just make it all work, that was something that really made me excited. The more work I did with marriage, and by the way, I tried making a group program, but that fell through. It was a failure that I upcycled to become a learning experience, and I learned a lot of why that women don't like to be in a group setting when they're talking about their marriage. And usually it's the deepest things that come up. So the last thing you want is for a group to be there. Even if the group is 3 people, it's like anything more than one-on-one just doesn't feel right. So I learned from that really I need to focus on one-on-one. And the more one-on-ones I did, and the more processes and transitions and transformations I saw, the more I realized that there was even a deeper, root that was really, really hard to crack. And that was intimacy. And what's happening is that this is something that is very private, especially in the Jewish community. There just feels like, we're very modest about our intimacy. We're very modest about all of the things that have to do with holiness and, separation, things that are really close to us. These are the things that are the core of Jewish values. So they really are very important. And when we have a problem there, we really don't have who to turn to. And when you learn about it for the first time when you're a bride, it's called a kala teacher. They're sort of giving you a lot of information. They're giving you a lot of laws. They're giving you a lot of technicalities. They're giving you a lot of things to know. They're just trying to throw all this information at you, and you are very overwhelmed, besides the fact that you have no idea. So it's all coming really, it's just this like great big thing. And then they sort of tell you what?
It is well intentioned.
I mean, well-intentioned for sure. And the truth is that I don't think I could do a better job with a person who has no experience. I think that especially my college teacher was amazing. She gave me as much as she could with what she had and with what I was able to contain. Also we're a container, and our container can't contain too much, especially since we have no experience. So I found that really after that experience, you don't ever have a follow-up, like, let's say 5 years down the line, or 7 years down the line, or 10 years down the line. Yeah. And like, let's upgrade what you know and teach you and answer all your questions and like really help you out. There's nothing. So with everything that you have, there's a lot of question marks, and a lot of question marks create a lot of frustration, a lot of resentment. And these things are really hard because you bottle them up, you push them down, you're just like, this is how it's supposed to be. And you know what the crazy thing is? When I had the questionnaire before I gave the masterclass, the questionnaire was like, send me any questions and tell me what you'd like to learn. Mm-hmm. So many people said, how do I bring back the fireworks?
Yeah.
And how do I get used to the fact that things are just blah? Like, how do I get used to it? I mean, that's so sad. It's almost like it's almost like we expect that now we have to just get used to this like mediocre. Mm-hmm. And so I was reading a book called The Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle, and in her book she really like puts it out there. My mission is to end world divorce. Like, that is her mission. And I was thinking, like, actually my mission is to end mediocre marriages. Like, it's just, we're married, it's fine, we're not getting divorced, things aren't bad or something, explosive, I don't know what, like, it's just fine.
Yeah.
And like, fine is fine, but it's not fine. Like, it's really not okay for you to feel like you're just sort of in a routine and you're trying to just like sort of thread water, and eventually maybe the kids will grow up and maybe something will change, and maybe something will, like, some shoe will drop or some coin will clink, like, I don't know what we're expecting, but it's really frustrating. And I had to go through this, and I found that I had no one to really, like, I just didn't know where to turn.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, I live in the Netherlands and you have a totally different situation, maybe with your culture, and I understand that. But there are parts that I can relate to. And I think also that a lot of women don't, they want things to get better, but they don't know how, and they don't know how to stand up for themselves. And that's what I really like about your masterclass, because it's about all the important things that you have to know as a woman to keep it together in a marriage. And in a marriage that's okay. And then when you want to make it more fun, and yeah, that's
my goal is that every woman should know that it is completely possible to feel amazing about your intimacy, about your marriage, about your life. Like, the whole thing about just like getting used to it and settling and being mediocre, like, that's maybe good for a temporary measure of like, let's just get through this war and then we'll deal with it type of thing. But like, you know, in regular life, you shouldn't have to give up on things. You shouldn't have to settle or be okay with whatever. Like, you really can dream and hope and desire and just love your life. That's my goal.
Yeah, and it's also for women maybe more cyclical. Like when you have a child, things are different after that with your husband. And then when child grows up, things are different again. And you have to reinvent yourself
Yeah.
every time.
Yes.
So,
I mean, look at me. I've been reinvented. Like,
we love it. I would see myself as a transformer standing up.
I really, you know what? I really feel like marriage is meant to help, be there for you, to support you to grow. And we're all there to support each other in growth and this life. Life is about growing and finding and creating higher consciousness, and then finding, sort of like using that ceiling to become your floor and going up a level and up a level. We're always growing. I love growing. I love developing. Yes, we're very similar in that. It's really fun.
And then the thing is, maybe when we get together with just our girlfriends, it's a different when we have a marriage coach or someone from the outside that's looking with us at the situation. Because when we are with girlfriends, we often tend to be shy and to have shame and to act like everything's fine and don't go into the deep stuff. And I know you're all about the deep stuff, so could you tell me about that?
I love deep stuff. I'll tell you what, another thing is that, in the Jewish community, you don't really talk about these things with your girlfriends unless you're really in like a one-on-one and you're just like very comfortable with someone. But for the most part, it really feels like there is no avenue, like nowhere to turn. And I am very private and very modest, and like even just opening up and becoming vocal on the internet was a really hard thing for me, because I'm like, it feels like I'm opening up myself and like showing you my insides. Like, it really is like so deep, and I feel like I'm shining my light, and it feels scary. So actually my fear wasn't fear of failure, it was fear of success. It was like, if I open up and I show the world what I'm about, then that's scary. That's, like, I just want to like close up and hi.
You're brave for doing this, Bat-Chen. So I really applaud you for that. You are really brave for taking this on, for looking it in the eye and facing it head on.
Yes, and I'll tell you why I did it, because the whole time I'm asking myself, like, who am I to do this? Who am I to do this? Like, I can think of a million people who are way more, I don't know what, than me. And then I was sitting down, and I think I was either journaling or meditating or something. It suddenly came to me that the answer is, who am I not to do this? You know, if God brought me all the way to here and I'm working with all these women and I'm seeing this problem and I'm feeling so passionate about this issue, and I should be like, who am I? And God is sitting there going like, I set you up for this. Like, who are you not? Like, what are you doing to say no to the job I gave you? So I was like, okay, fine. I will do it. And then I just jumped in the water. I did it very, I sort of just like closed my eyes. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm doing it. I put it out on the internet and I say, I'm doing it next week. And I just, did it. I got 6 people who came live and then a couple of people who got the recording, like you got the recording and some other people. The feedback I'm getting is tremendous. First of all, the people who came live, they didn't even go home and practice and then tell me how it went. Like on the spot, they were like, this is amazing. It has to be taught to everyone. I'm sending all my friends to you. This is not things that anybody has taught or is talking about or is teaching. And the other thing that I realized in the beginning, also the other issue I had was there are all these people whose specialty is this. And who am I to come and say like, I have this passion and I need to speak about this when I myself don't feel comfortable saying words or, like getting it out of my mouth. Like all I could say is, I'm calling it intimacy. And that's pretty much all I say. Like I am really, really private about it. And I realized that all those other people, I didn't feel comfortable going to. So it must be that people like me are also not feeling comfortable to go to them. And they need someone like me who's going to address it in a very modest way, in a very clean way. I'm not going to start naming things. I'm not going to start giving you a whole anatomy class of like how everything works. I'm just going to give you all of the things you need to know and the mindset, which I think is number one, the mindset behind, what it is that we're working with. Then afterwards, the practical, and like, I give it all, but I do in such a nice and delicate way, right?
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm not beating around a bush. I'm not trying to like avoid it. I'm really saying the things that need to be said, but I'm saying it in a way that makes me feel comfortable. And I realized that was the secret to why they were so excited, because they felt comfortable asking questions during the, in the chat. They felt comfortable going through and really like writing me emails afterwards or texting me, giving me testimonials. They were like, wow, this was amazing. And that turned me on to the fact that, okay, I think I did something.
Yeah, you did something great. And I think you hit a good nerve there. And I love taking the class, and I love that it was very detailed and very actionable. So it was just things that I could do right away. And I feel like, I'm like, for me, it's not always with intimacy, it's not always difficult, but sometimes it's like, how do you get out of the funk, or how do you get out of it when when the kids are in your bed at 4:30 in the morning and or they are going to sleep with you, and then things are different. They just are. Yeah. Or you feel so tired at the end of the day that you think like, oh my God, I'm just looking at my phone. That's how I feel.
That was one of the top questions that was asked before the class is, what if I'm not in the mood? Like, it's normal, it's okay. But usually we're not in the mood because we just don't think there's hope. Like, you're not going to be in the mood if you already got used to the fact that like, it just blah. So like, somebody called it boring. Somebody called it like all these different things that we name it things that it shows what we really believe. So why would you be in the mood? Why? I don't, I'm not in the mood when I think about like how boring or frustrating or resentful, like, no, I want you to really change that mindset and be like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Okay, fine. For amazing, I'm willing to work, I'm willing to do something.
We only want it for our love life.
Thank God. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, the next one is on Sunday, the 27th.
Oh wow, you're doing another one.
Yes.
You're on
They
fire. I love it.
all dared me. They were like, you better be doing another one because there is all my friends waiting.
Like, is it a follow-up or how can I? No.
I mean, you're welcome to come to the follow-up, but I'm going to give the same, I'm just going to make it a little bit better.
Follow-up.
What? Waiting for a follow-up? I will take that feedback into consideration.
Yeah. But so what can women expect after they have taken the masterclass? Because I really liked it, but what can you expect your marriage to be like, or how you are? I don't know how you say it in English. What your mindset will be about marriage.
Okay, so the first thing that we do is we really address the mindset, because if you don't believe you deserve good, if you don't believe that you're worthy of feeling good, then it doesn't matter how many things I'm going to tell you, how much advice I'm going to give you, how many practical tips and things and whatever's, nothing is going to help you, because in the core you don't believe that you deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset is the first thing we switch, and we really address it in a very concrete way, and in a way that makes it really clear that, like, we have to really believe and own it. We really have to want it, and also just believe it's possible.
That's so empowering. Yeah, I love it.
I'm so glad, because it's something that I had to go through. And we were talking about this the other day, and I realized that this was one of the things that's the enemy. We were discussing how some people say, I've tried everything. I've just tried everything. Like when they're trying to save a marriage, or when trying to make it better, or when trying anything. It's like, I've tried everything. I give up. There's nothing else. And I said to Mascha, yes, I've tried everything. I've tried canceling myself out. I've tried becoming the rug everybody's stepping on. I've tried completely silencing myself and just like empowering the other person. All those things failed. Like, guess why? Because that is the exact opposite way. Like, we think it's going to work. It's like, if I just lower myself a tiny bit more and lower myself a tiny bit more and like become almost horizontal so that like nobody could see me, and like, if I don't take care of myself and I just completely like take care of everyone else, and maybe then I will change the world. Actually, it's not true. The only way I was able to help my husband, the only way I was able to empower him, the only way I was able to even just free him from being the bad guy, was by starting to take care of myself and not being dependent on him, not waiting for him to do all the things for me and to give me the love that I think, it's like, an empty pit. Like, you'll never fill it, but you always need more. And it's just not going to work unless you decide to do it for yourself. So once I took myself into my own hands and was like, okay, this is what I'm doing and I deserve better and I'm going to do this. And, the more I empowered myself, the more that he was free to become a nice, like awesome husband. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with him. Like, that was one of the things that I had to see on my own. And it was really hard to face, was that he's not the problem. And it was really hard to say, because it's really convenient, like you say about the kids. Like, it's a really convenient excuse to say, oh, it's not working because the kids, like, my kids are all home, it's COVID, blah. But like, it's not, if something is important to you, then you will find the time, you will find the way, you will find something that will make it work. Same thing, it's really a very easy excuse to say, like, it's not working out because my husband is a total jerk. He's a loser. He won't this and that. I'm into growth and he's not growing, and like, he's behind and he's holding me back. These are all things I was saying. And they're not because, and my husband knows this, he's amazing and I love him and I always loved him, but I always felt like he was holding me back. And he was like, I was like on a leash, and I was like limited, and really I was limiting myself. And when I was able to free myself, that was when I was able to, sorry.
And what? But I think there is something in there that women are trying to do all those things, but they somehow they shy away. Like they shy away from taking the responsibility
Yeah.
and 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 be in charge. And then because they think because maybe they think like, oh, it's more romantic if the man is in charge or something like that. But when you are truly in charge, you can let the man be just himself, and
Right.
then oh, it gets so much better. So speaking from the other end, like I was there too, but speaking from the other end, I would totally recommend taking it on and in a fun way, just
Yeah.
as you do in your class. Like it's fun, it's easy, it's not as hard as you think. It's not like you have to be a bully or anything. You're just yourself,
Right.
your
It's,
best self.
that's when I called it Connected for Real. That was the reason, is because I was super connected to, to God. I was super connected to myself, and I was connecting to people around me. And I didn't notice this because to me this was natural. I thought everybody is connected, but apparently it's not. And all my friends, when I was asking like what's my thing, they all mirrored back to me the same thing. We're like, you have this thing about connection. And I'm connected for real. Like I want it to not just be like a thought, like, oh, it's up there in the sky, it's like just connected. No, like I want to ground it. I want to bring it to the real world. I want you to really be really practical. So all of my advice is always very practical, always very down to earth, but the goals are really lofty. It's, I really want you to be happy. I want you to feel connected. I want you to really know what you want. I want you to get in touch with yourself. I want you to live, breathe, be
And
happy.
that's what I like about you, just your enthusiasm and how you just talk about this is like who you are, how I got to know you. Just you're so full of life and so full of learning new things, and you just want to help people to do, yeah, like better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it.
You.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
you did a great job. And uh, how can people take the masterclass or do something like that? Or how can
Um,
they connect with you?
yeah. So if you get in touch with me, I'll send you the link, and I could post it in the comments after we're done. And probably tomorrow it will be on connectedforreal.com, which is my website, but it's not there yet. It's going to be there soon. I
Oh,
haven't put it up yet because, it's
it's
Corona.
great.
I'll find an excuse why I didn't do it yet. But it should be there tomorrow, connectedforreal.com, or just DM me, PM me, send me a message, and I will send you the link.
Yeah,
The class is $97.
yeah,
So
totally
it's
worth it.
totally worth it, right?
Yeah,
Totally worth it.
really. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. One of the ladies walked out. She was like, $97, I would have paid 970. Like that's how much it was valued at. It's just like, I'm shocked. And
Yeah.
that was amazing. It was great.
You get great
Oh,
value. So
is the
that's
internet
great.
down?
Oh no.
Are you back? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here. Can
good.
you see me? Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Everybody get on the internet. So
We're back. Okay, so we have a bunch of viewers. Take your time and write a comment below or a question. If you have any questions about me, about Mascha, about how awesome we are, about the masterclass, about marriage, just, go ahead, write it all down. We'll be answering questions now. And anything else? What other questions did you have ready for me?
oh, well, I wanted to ask you something like, how come we don't always think we deserve the best thing? Because we were talking about it. And then I had my boyfriend this afternoon, and he told me like, shall we go to the place that you really like, where they have the pancakes? And shall we go just for fun? Just take the pancake and get it. I was like, I'm asking this for 3 weeks. And now we want to do it because we had an agreement that you should be clipping the hedges today. Are you getting out of it, or what? Why do you want to go on the date right now? I don't want to. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. He's asking me on a date. Let's do it. Let's have fun. But why do we, like, initially get drawn back from that?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's condition. You know, it's how we grow up. We have to do things in order to receive things. You know, it's like if you clean up, then you'll get to watch the movie. If you do this, then you get that. So it's this condition thing that, like, we learn that we can only deserve things that we like or things that are good if we do the hard stuff or if we pay the price or whatever it is that we believe, you know. And like there's all these limiting beliefs about like everything free always, you know, costs money, or like you always will have to pay back a favor. Like there's all these things that we have, you know, holding us back. Like if somebody wants to help you and he's like, no, thanks, I don't want to have to owe you. Like, I just asked you to help you. Like I have no agenda, you know? And so these are things that are limiting us from being able to just receive. And that's, you know, I think that those are just limiting beliefs that we have to go through and we have to just sort of shed. You know, we've grown up, we're now adults, we can understand that a no is a no and a yes is a yes. And if I ask someone for something and they say yes, I don't have to question that. Like, oh, do you actually mean it? Like, of course, that's why I said yes. And somebody who says yes when they don't mean it, that's their problem. They have to work on their boundaries. They have to work on their issues, but that's not your responsibility as an adult, okay? Yes, we question children when we're not sure because we want to help them really get in touch with themselves. But as an adult, we really want to get in touch with, you know, things are what they are. And we're women, so we totally read behind the scenes, like between the lines. We know that, like, oh, I know you actually meant when you said you love me, you actually meant you really don't really. Like, oh, forget it. Just take whatever he says and take it. Like, just accept the compliment. It doesn't mean you weren't pretty yesterday. It just means you were pretty today. Get on with it. That's all it is. So we're really good at reading between the lines, trying to figure out what's behind, you know, the motives, or just believing that just like when we were kids, you have to pay for whatever you get, or you have to deserve things. And really, in reality, if you look at babies, they did nothing in order to get love. They did nothing in order to be alive. They did nothing in order to be fed. They're just human beings. They were born into this world. God wants to give and give and give them all the goodness in the world. And he's not sitting around calculating what they did or didn't do. So your inner soul and your life here is completely not dependent on what you do or don't do in order to deserve good. And when we can connect to that, then we can really receive much, you know, in a much easier way. And receiving is one of those superpowers that's very feminine, but we don't connect to because we're scared. And that's what I think, like, you know, what you were saying before with your example, there's fear in there. There's like, wait, are you trying to get away with something? Are you trying to buy me? Are you trying to, you know, get me to do something I'm not really into doing? Like, what are you trying to do? And really, it's like, sure, thanks. Let's do it. I'm excited. Do you realize how much we hold ourselves back from just being happy and just being ourselves? I mean, think about it. When I was dating, and when all of us were like young and dating and cute and happy, that's what was so magnifying to the husbands. Like, they just want to be near you because you're so bubbly and happy and in touch with what makes you happy. And like, oh, I love flowers. Oh, by the way, did you see the flower? Yeah.
I got one today too.
Yes, you should all learn this trick. Do nothing and receive a flower. Yes. Thank God. It's a very funny story, actually. The story about the flower. My husband never got me flowers until finally one day I was in a marriage class a long time ago. And she said, she said something about how I'm dependent on him for my happiness. And I was like, oh my God. So I went home and I really did all this work. And in Hebrew, being dependent also means like I am hung on him, like almost like hangers. So I had this imagery while I'm sleeping, like not sleeping, but like, before I fell asleep, I was like really trying to relax. And I see this hanger rod that's my husband and all these different hangers on it. And then I took one off and I said, I don't want to be dependent on you anymore. I want to be dependent on God for my happiness. And I hung it on God. And I took another one and I was like, I don't want to be dependent on you for my love. I want to be dependent on God. And I just took off and put onto this God hook in my mind. This is all in my head. Okay. Like
visual. I love it.
Oh, I'm such a visual person. I felt like I was literally like untying myself from what was holding me back. And after that, I said nothing. I didn't tell my husband about it. I didn't even tell him that, what went on in the class because he really couldn't care less. Like he's not into marriage classes or going into classes at all. Like it's just, we're very different and that's okay. And so when I come home, some people are like, oh, what did you learn? Like here, it's nothing. It's like, oh, okay, let's go to sleep or let's clean up or whatever, like very technical, which is fine. So, so I didn't say anything. And the next morning I get a rose on my desk, like right here. And I was like, what is this? And it's like, I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to. So I went outside and I picked you the best one and I put it on your desk and I surprised you. And I was like, does this have anything to do with what just happened last night? Like I was shocked, but he had no idea why. And I can feel that there was something that released in me the ability to receive when I was finally not dependent. And that it's like such a secret story. Like I feel like I just shared my guts with you, but I think it just illustrates exactly what I do with people. First of all, I do a lot of guided imagery. I do a lot of meditation and guided meditation, that things that just blow my mind, like my mind. I'm not even talking about their mind. I love, what a great analogy with the hangers. Thank you, Annie. Sometimes I go into it and I just don't know what to expect, but I know that inside we have the answers and I'm just waiting for them to come out. And sometimes it's so much easier when it's someone else telling you the answer, when you visualize a different person or somebody from the Bible or something that's distant and somebody who you trust, who knows the answer. And when they tell it to you, it's like, oh, that was what I needed to hear. Like, of course it is, because I believe it's all inside us, it's our subconscious sort of like coming finally, like being able to be heard. But the process is so beautiful. And that's what, that's why I love my one-on-one so much, is because I'm able to really stretch that. So like you asked before, like how to follow up. I think the best follow-up is the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
You're so passionate and you just deliver deliver the goods. So yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, and well, I think we discussed most. If you want me to ask more questions, I can, but I think do you have any questions from the audience or
questions from the audience? Well, we have Judy, who is one of my past clients when I was a graphic designer, who I really love, and cheering me on, which is really fun.
That's so
and as usual, we have Nicole, who is my favorite cheerleader. We're like best buddies now. If anybody wants to ask a question, you're welcome to do that. If not, you're welcome to ask me privately. That's always a good idea. And actually, I want to turn the tables a little bit around, because this is, I went out of my comfort zone. I'm happy I did it, but I also want to pick on you a little bit. So I know that you are an art teacher and you're also an artist who puts your work out and is really passionate about helping other people do the same.
Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. Well, what I found is that I see a lot of artists that make beautiful work and just don't know how to sell their art or how to get it across and find their audience. So that's what I'm all about. And I'm setting up a masterclass right now for them so they can connect to each other and we can have people come up that tell about how to sell your art, what to do, how to market it. So this is fun. This is
It's gonna be so fun. I would say it's like a mastermind group more because you're so good at running these things. By the way, she really is. I love how you facilitate so beautifully when there's a group. Because by the way, we're part of a group, and Mascha is so good at just making it all flow. Like it always feels so easy flowing, and just like
yeah, I love to do that, and I love for everybody to feel heard and to be heard and to be seen, and that's one of my things that, well, I didn't, as a person, I didn't always feel seen. So that's something that really gets me ticked, and I'll try to make sure every time when I'm around people that they feel seen and they feel heard, because I think it's very important. And I think it's so fantastic that we can do this on the internet. Like, it's amazing. So yeah, if I have time, I can do this, and why not do it this way? Because it's beautiful. You're in Israel, I'm in the Netherlands. We're talking, we're laughing. Yeah, all the goodies.
It's so fun. It's just been, the gift that COVID gave me was the ability to really see how connected we really are. Like we thought we were connected, but no, now we're connected on a deeper level. People are looking for a different type of connection now that we are so isolated, And so I'm having real conversations, and I'm having real group meetings, and I'm having real coaching sessions with people that blow my mind how deep we can go and how connected we can get. It's just really amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
It's a real gift.
So how much time do we have? Because I can ask questions, no problem.
Well, actually, our time is done, but if you have one last question, you can ask it.
Well, I just wanted to know, what was it like for you to become more visible and to do this, to do all these things? Because you were brave.
It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And get yourself a journal, because it's less about the technicalities. Like somebody could teach you, okay, go on YouTube, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go do this, go say this, go whatever. But it's not about the technicalities as much as the mindset work that has to happen behind the scenes of who wants to hear me? Why would I even, what if they don't like me? What if a million things come up? And this is my third journal already. Like I went through I know, because I do really well with getting it out on paper and really putting it down, because when I talk to people, it's different. But when I talk to myself, if I'm just walking and just thinking, so if I'm thinking something that I don't actually like, or that I think is like going to take me somewhere scary, I just like, sort of like pretend I didn't ask that, or like I don't go down that road. But when I'm writing, I can't avoid it. And I keep writing. And then I'm like, okay, so yeah, why? Why do I feel this way? What's going on? What's behind the scenes? What am I believing? What is going on here? And then I could really say, okay, it's probably not true. Let's find out what really is the truth. people really are not going to like me. I mean, okay, so fine, don't like me. If you don't like me, stop watching. Really, you don't have to. I'm not making you. But like in those days, that was the scariest thing for me, is like, what if they don't like me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't know what to say? What if? And it's like, okay, chill, take a breather. God is going to help you. He's right there with you. He's telling you what, like he puts the words in my mouth. He helps me have clarity. If I'm doing this for him, then he's here for me. Like, we're in this together.
Yeah.
And that really is one of my anchor thoughts of like, we can do this. It's a lot of mindset work. A lot.
Yeah, and you got great reactions. And then do you have Brene Brown talks about this, vulnerability hangovers? Like when you say something and like after that you go like, oh my God, did I really, do I have to process?
Yes. So there was one time when I was on a podcast and it was being recorded, and then like she was going to put it out like 2 days later. And I called her up and I said, can you please edit that one line I said about my husband? If it goes back to him, I'm in so much trouble. And it wasn't even something mean, but it was something that just, I didn't feel appropriate. And I felt comfortable asking her to take it out and just, okay, whatever. But for the most part, I feel like, today with the story of the hangers and my flower, it's not something I tell people. It's something very, very deep that I had to go through. And I just felt like it was the right thing to do. So I told it to you. And apparently it resonated with Annie, who right away wrote a comment, she loves the analogy. So maybe there was a reason why I had to tell it. And maybe that feeling inside me was true. And I really needed to do it. Once I do it though, I feel like, okay, it's out, whatever, if it had to be out, it had to be out. So like, I guess the hangover, the anchor thought that keeps me safe from having that hangover is believing that it was as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like if it happened, it had to happen, and it's not in my hands anymore. Like it's not in my control. Like,
and I think we need more women that can tell their stories and tell all the things, like how they experience things, because I think on a deep level we all experience something like that. And
yes, I think the most important takeaway that I want women to walk out from any of my lives is we're all going through it. Like, it's not like I have a perfect marriage and I have a perfect husband, and that's why I can have an amazing life. And you just happen to get this terrible lot with this, husband who's just like, ugh, and like your life is ugh, and everything is ugh. And like, so it just happens to be that you're going to have a bad life and I'm going to have a good life, because that's how, no, we're all doing the same things. We're all dealing with the same stuff. I have stuff in my house, even now. Like my husband said, what time am I going to be able to get into my room? And I was like, I don't know. I'm locking you out, and hopefully in 45 minutes. And we're ready in 47 minutes. So I feel like, now I'm like in conflict. And it's going to, it is what it is. Yeah. I have a husband who's normal, human, is allowed to get upset, is allowed to get angry, is allowed to get frustrated, and I'm human, so I'm allowed to get angry and upset and frustrated. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that we're all in this together. We all get lazy, and we all get whatever, any other thing that we get, and that's fine. But what do we do with it? That's what I want everybody to think about. Like, what am I going to do about this situation now to change the trajectory of where it's going? Because I can't change the past, and I can't change right now what's happening, but I can change what's going to happen in a minute, an hour, in a day, in 10 years. And it doesn't have to keep being this way just because it is this way now. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway is like, make a choice every moment of like where you want to go. Like, which train do you want to get on? Because if you're just going to stay on the train and be like, I wonder what will be. I'm not wondering at all. Like, if you just stay on the train, then the train will go where it's going. But if you get off the train and get on a different train, Kathy Heller says, like, sometimes it's a 2-degree turn. But if you're middle of the ocean, you end up in a different continent. That's amazing. You know, one of the women said, I can't do this. I would need my husband to turn 360 degrees in order for him to, whatever. I'm like, yeah, then he'd be back in the same spot. Like, I don't think you meant 360. But she needs him to completely change. And it's like, you know what? If you can change 1%, 1 degree, then we're already adjusting. Then we're already moving somewhere. Then we're already changing the location, the trajectory, the direction. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can change the whole world. You can just change yourself, and that's something that you do gradually.
Yes.
When you're feeling like, oh, I can do this. So yeah, I really love your class, and I think people should just go and see it and see how you do. So
yes, come join the Intimacy Masterclass. It's going to happen on Sunday, the 27th. And there's going to be another one in January, but I don't know when yet. And this one's probably going to be amazing because I'm fixing up the presentation to be a lot more awesome. And
it looks so good.
Yeah, it looks so good. Thank you. I was adding a couple of things that I felt were like missing. I'll send them to you. Yeah, but like it's gonna be a really good one this week. Whatever in the week.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mascha. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
So as always, please remember that I go live every single week with a different guest. And usually it's about the guest and something that has to do with marriage. So we always talk about marriage. We're always focused on what money, time management, children, parenting, whatever it is that has to do with your life and how that affects your marriage. And that is my passion, and that's why I do it. So make sure that you subscribe and, come follow again. Next week is going to be all about work, money, and marriage and how those really sort of work together. It's going to be with Leah Aharoni, who is a business coach, and she is amazing. So thank you, Mascha, for coming.
Thank you for having me.